So good morning students. In the today's lecture we will talk about the Harris corner detector. So the first thing is why we learn these type of algorithms. The reason is after 2 weeks we will start the augmented reality concept. So in the augmented reality these are the basics one, and you have to utilize these concept over there. That's why we will learn these detector algorithms as well as the feature detector algorithm. So after the feature as well as the corner detected algorithm, we will moving towards the homography. So the homography is basically the changing of projection from the two-dimensional space to the three-dimensional space or more than three-dimensional space, such that you can utilize the augmented reality applications in a beautiful manner. So we will start the today's topic, that is Harris corner detector. So as the name indicates, this algorithm is used to detect the corners inside the objects of the images, as well as Harris is the scientist's name who developed this algorithm. So inside this image, you can see these are the corners indicated by the green bubbles. These are the corners and the basic focus of this algorithm to identify these corners. So for the technical term, the introductory definition of this Harris corner detector is it is a corner detector operator that is used in augmented reality to extract the corners inside the image. So I'm giving you notes also because in the ANSEM there is a theory paper, so it will be easier for you to write the theory. So it is a corner detector operator, or you can say algorithm, that is used in augmented reality to extract the corners inside the image. So what is the corner basically? In the diagram, you can see that corner is the this one, which is indicated by these green circles. But what is the basic definition of the corner? If someone asks you that what is the corner in the image, that how can you briefly give a introduction regarding what is the corner? So I give you one technical definition about the corner is the corner can be a point whose local neighborhood stands in two dominant and different edge directions. Like in this diagram, you can see if it is the corner one, if this one is the corner, then its neighborhood points, wherever the neighborhood pixel is present over here, or you can say these are the neighborhood pixels, or in a very short distance a pixel is having. So the neighborhood pixels with the respect of this corner pixels are lying in the different direction. So you can see there, so one pixel is lying on the x direction and another pixel is lying on the y direction. And the coinciding image, or you can say the junction of these two pixels, is called the corners. So corner is a point whose local neighborhood, just like in the neighborhood is this one and this one, stand in two dominant and different edge direction. So you can see one edge direction is towards this one and the another one edge direction is towards this one. So a corner can be interpreted as a junction of two images. So junction is a coinciding points. So when the this edge direction and this edge direction is coincide, and this common point is called the corner. So I will write definition also. This is the diagrammatical explanation only. So corner is a point whose local neighborhood stands in two dominant and different edge direction. Yeah, I will solve the doubts in the last few minutes. So how to detect the corner? Corner detection steps by using the Harris corner detector algorithm. So there is also some mathematics utilized by the Harris scientist. So first, we have to create a small window. Suppose this is your image, and inside this image you have to create a small window. Sometimes it is 3 cross 3, sometimes 3 cross 2. So this is the small window you have to create, and each window there is some pixel. These are the pixel value. So consider a small window around each pixel of the image, each pixel p in an image. So once my window is created, then you have to shift the windows by using a certain direction and a certain amount of shifting value. Then you have to analyze that the amount of intensity changes in the pixel value. So I will just write and explain you in the diagram also. So we have to shift each window. This is called the window. This is the window. So we have to shift each window by a small amount. So this shifting can be done in the 4 directions, like this direction, this direction, this direction, this direction, in small amount in any direction. And have to measure the amount of change in pixel value. So when your pixel intensity is getting higher, so this will be taken as a coinciding pixel and taken as a corner. Like in this example, you can see from the images that this is one window. This square is one window, and these are the corners. This one is the corner, you can say, because the edges are coinciding here. So when you are visualize this square, so you can change at the pixel, there is no intensity change. Whenever this window is shifting towards this direction or towards this direction or this direction or this direction, the pixel value intensity is not changed. So it is called the flat region. Flat region means if there are no edges are coinciding over that region, that is called the flat region. So no change in all the direction. Now the second one, you can say the window is residing over the edge. Suppose there is a vertical edge and the window is residing over the edge. Again, you have to repeat the same process. You have to jump over the upward direction, left direction, right direction, and the downwards direction. And you have to check the intensity, whether the intensity is changed or not. So in this case, the intensity is also not changed because the intensity has to be changed in both of the directions. Both of the direction means because there are two types of derivative, na? X derivative and the y derivative. So both of the derivatives and the corresponding x and y value has to be changed. So in this case, what happens? My y value is getting changed, but my x value is residing the same. That's why it is a edge, but no change along the edge direction, and there is no corner. But what about this case? In this case, my window is residing over this corner. And if you are shifting towards any direction, the corner intensity will get changed automatically in both of the directions by using the x directive and the y directive. So significant changes in the directions you can say here. So we can say this point is act as a corner. So there is a mathematical function over there that is called the sum squared difference. That is called SSD of the pixel inside the image. So this is a sum squared difference, means you have to initiate the difference, that is the pixel value which you have to take before the shifting and the pixel value that you have to take after the shifting. So before shifting and after shifting, you have to initiate the difference. Sum square difference of the pixel value before shift and after shift. And this difference that is called the SSD is denoted by the function EUV. So first I have to write the whole equation, then I will explain all of the terms. So this is the weighted. You can see, you can understand as a kernel filter, just like the Gaussian filter. And this is your intensity of the image. Sorry, this one be so it is u comma y plus v minus the difference should be the previous one intensity over the x and y coordinates inside the pixel value, and this is the squared. So this EUV is a function that is also called the SSD function. This is the kernel. So inside this you can use any kernel like the Gaussian as well as the another ones. And this is your intensity. This is your initial x and y coordinates, and this is your shifting coordinates with respect to x and y. So the definition of SSD is sum squared difference of the pixel value. So in terms of the sum, there is a summation sign, and difference is the intensity previous and the intensity after the shifting of the coordinates, and we have to take the square. So we have to maximize this function for the corner detection. Our aim is to maximize this function value in order to detect the corner. Maximize this function. This is our aim. And also maximize this one, you have to maximize this one. Our more concentration is to maximize the second term, because this maximum value is totally depend on the shifting of u and v coordinates, that at which u and v position how many shifting you are done, such that this intensity, that higher intensity difference you are getting. So we have to change it over the matrix term. So there are certain hidden mathematics over it. This is not inside your syllabus because it will be the part of the image processing, and image processing and human computer interaction is the different thing. We are not learn about the image processing. So just I am writing the whole matrix term over there direct form. So this is the matrix representation by the term, by using the Boole term, and this entity is represented as a summed matrix M. You can see this one. So in the short form, the equation can be represented as UV, your M, and UV. Now this difference is only for one window. Like I told you in the image, there are so many windows are there. So this term is used for only the one window. One window means only this one. So our target is to calculate the score for each window. Now score R has to be calculated for each window. So how can we calculate the R score? So R score will be calculated by the determinant of the matrix M minus K and the tracing of M and the whole square, where K is called the free parameter of the Harris detector. That is called free parameter of Harris detector. And by default, the value is 0.04. So determinant of the matrix can be identified by using the eigenvectors. So eigenvalues are this lambda 1 and lambda 2, and the trace of M will be represented by the addition of these eigenvalues. Where lambda 1 and lambda 2 are eigenvalues. And this value is responsible for taking the decision whether there is a region of the flat or it is an image or it is a corner. So it has to initiate three rules by taking the parameter of your R score, lambda 1 and lambda 2 values. So what is the first rule? The first rule says when the computed R score value is small, this means lambda 1 and lambda 2 values are very small, and the reason is flat. Now the second rule is when R value is less than 0, that means lambda 1 is greater than is far greater than lambda 2, and the reason is edge. And the third point is when R value is large, then we can say the lambda 1 value is very similar to lambda 2, and the reason is corner. So these three rules can be understood by using this diagram also. Like this is a lambda 1 and this is a lambda 2 in the x-axis, and in the y-axis there is lambda 2. So the second rule says when my lambda 2 value, sorry, I think I written a wrong annotation here. It should be lambda 2 and it should be lambda 1. So when your lambda 2 value is far greater than lambda 1, then it is a edge. If the values are similar, then it is called corner. Okay, both of the conditions are true, I think. This one is also true and this one is also true. So I will modify it over there. And there is a flat region when the lambda 1 and lambda 2 values are so small. So this is one of the important diagram that you have to mention in your exam whenever I told you to explain the Harris corner detector. And also one thing for the exams is that whenever I told you that you have to explain a particular algorithm, so try to elaborate by using the diagrams. अगर आप ओनली थ्योरी लिख दोगे और फिर मुझसे एक्सपेक्ट करोगे कि आप 5 में 5 दे दो या 10 में 10 दे दो, so it will not be possible because how can I differentiate between the students? Some students are written the concept in a very brief way as well as with explanation of the diagrams. So such type of students get the full marks and rest of the things only written the theory. So how can I differentiate the marks between these two people? So if you want higher marks over there, so try to explain the things by using the theory as well as the diagrams also. And if I am using and explaining this type of diagrams in the class, means you have to mention. So आप मेरे से ये expect मत करना, kindly do not expect these things that in the paper it is not written that we have to plot the diagram. So you have to self understand this type of things. Now implementation, the important part. Without implementation, you cannot jump over the augmented reality. So for the implementation, you have to use the OpenCV. So in the OpenCV, you have to import CV2. So this CV2 will become the class, and inside the CV2 there are so many functions that you have to invoke this function by using the dot operator. So like the function inside the OpenCV is called the Harris corner also. Like the one function is corner, and in the capital words H and Harris. So first you have to read the image. After reading the image, you have to convert it into the grayscale format. After converting the grayscale format, you have to call this corner Harris algorithm over there by using the dot operator. So how can we call this function? That is my class CV2. Suppose I made an object DST, which is of the type of class CV2. Then by using the dot operator, I will invoke the function or method corner Harris. And inside this, there are certain arguments you have to pass. The first one is the image that you are actually reading. Then the block size. Then Sobel operator that you learned in the last class. And the value of K. So K is nothing but that one that I actually explaining here. This one. The free parameter of the Harris detector. So the image will be your image object that you are actually reading. Your block size will indicate minimum value of the means minimum eigenvalues. In my case, my eigenvalues is lambda 1 and lambda 2. So you have to just pass out the value of 2. Now the by default Sobel operator value, because it uses the Gaussian filter for the blurring of the images, so you have to pass 3 over there, and the free parameter K, the value is 0.04. So this function you have to call, and the corners of the images can be detected automatically. So I will show the code also. So that is the Harris corner detection algorithm, and it is implemented by using the Python language with OpenCV library. So if you are using the OpenCV, then you have to use the matplotlib also, because without matplotlib, you cannot display the images in the command prompt. So the matplotlib pyplot as a PLT, then you have to call this PLT class over there in order to invoke the ImShow function. So the first thing is very simple, just you have to read the images from your directory. So in my case, I'm taking now the different image. I am already checked the another image also. You can do the hit and trial for the another images, but for the example, I'm using this one, the waffle image. So now it is a colored image, and you can see. So how to detect the corners? So for detecting the corners, just I told you that you have to convert it into the grayscale. So this is the command, that CVT color image copy, that you have created the object in the upper one. Now the CV2 dot color RBG to gray. So it will directly convert your color scale that is inside the 3 channels into the 1 channel, that is black and white color. So for the detection of the corners, you can see here direct the corner Harris method is invoked by using the dot operator inside the CV2 class. So the first one is the gray, because inside my code, the gray is the object name which having the grayscale image. The first one is the block size, which indicates how many minimum eigenvalues you are using. The Sobel operator is 3 and the k value is 0.04. So in order to detect the corners, I have to dilate my image. So there is a function inside the CV2 that is called the dilate. So dilate will do all of the things inside the image in a black and white fashion, and it will enhance the intensity of your corners inside the image such that you can visualize your corners in a more visualized way. So these are the corners you can see here. But in the colored image, if you want to see it in the colored image, so that is the method. So for the colored image, you have to create a threshold first, because you are playing with the image that having 3 channels, that is RGB. So there is a threshold. The threshold is 0.2 into DST. DST is the one that you have created an object for the Harris detector. Where is this? Yeah, this one. So according to the maximum value of DST, you have to use the threshold. So this is the, again, it is a free parameter 0.1. You can change it by taking the larger one and the smaller one. So there is no standard for maintaining the threshold. It is just depending on how many corners you want to detect inside your image, and it is depend on the application. So you can hit and try with another values also. In my case, I am taking the 0.1. So after the threshold, you have to check whether the I and j coordinates inside the DST object is greater than the threshold or not. So if it is greater than threshold, so it will be detect the corners inside the images in terms of the circles. So you can see these are the corners here, 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 here. There's the corners. So in this way, Harris corner detector successfully detect the corners inside the object of the image. Now corner detection algorithm we already done. Then we have to move toward the feature detection algorithm. It is again used in the augmented reality. That's why we are learning this. So the most widely used algorithm over the augmented reality in terms of detecting the features are, the first one is called SIFT, that is scale invariant feature transform. Now the second one is called SURF, speeded up robust feature. And the last one is called FAST. The full form is features from accelerated segment test. So we will see all of the algorithms one by one, because these three algorithms is widely used in the implementation of augmented reality applications. So by using the Python library, just they have to call like cv2 dot sift, and inside they have passed the parameters. So if I directly jump to the augmented reality, that in that case you will ask me that what is sift. So that's why I am telling this you in this our lecture. So the first one, that is called sift, scale invariant feature transform. So it is widely depends on the scaling factor, this one. And the algorithm is very wide. It has 5 steps. So what are that 5 steps? The 5 steps are: the first one, scale space, scale space peak selection. The second step is called key point localization. The third one is orientation assignment. Then key point descriptor. And the fifth one is key point matching. So in this step, the step number 2 and the step number 4 can be used simultaneously. So the first one, that is called the scale space peak selection, the first one. So this can be understood as a function. Scale space of an image can be understood as a function which taking the x and y coordinates as well as the Gaussian filter in order to blur the images. Then we have to check out at the different scales, and after maintaining the scale, we have to divide our images into the number of octaves. So in each octaves, according to the Gaussian blur filter, we have to uh, differentiate between the images. Like in this diagram you can see. So this is one image of the cat, and there is an octave. So this is the first octave. And after applying the Gaussian blur filter and the scaling of the resizing of the images, it has to go towards the second octave. So you can see from the upwards to the downwards, there is a difference between the blurring quality as well as the scaling quality also. Like in this third octave, you can see the scaling is very less, as well as the blurring is also high. Now in the last octave, that is called the fourth octave, the scaling is very less, and the last image of this octave is very blurred. So according to that, you have to apply the Gaussian filter and the scaling of the images. So it is just like the process of training and testing. Like so many training images you have to create, and after that we have to feed a network towards a new image, that is after the rotation or after making some modification. Then you have to do the matching. The matching is the one that is in the last point, that is called the key point matching. Because what the augmented reality does, in the augmented reality, you have to place the object or the image above any image. So you have to make the accurate matching of the coordinates over there, as well as the projections. So this key point matching is very much useful over this augmented reality concept. So scale space of an image, I'm writing this, can be understood as a function, and this function is represented by L. XY is the coordinates of the pixel, and this is the Gaussian blur filter. And that is produced from convolution of convolution of Gaussian kernel filter at different scales. So now from this definition, you can understand what I'm trying to say from the octave diagram. So at the different kernel values, you have to test the images at the different scales. And the scale space is separated by using the octave. So this function can be written as xyz, and over there you have to apply the Gaussian filter, Gaussian kernel over the xy coordinates, and this one is the sigma and the image. So within the octave, the image that I mentioning in the few minutes ago, you can see within the octave the images are continuously, or you can say progressively, blurred using the Gaussian blur operator. So this is the first step over the scale space peak collection. So what is the second step? The second step, we have to initiate the difference between the Gaussian kernel. Means you have to check the images at the different sigma values, Gaussian bulk filter, and you have to initiate the difference. So it can be indicated as DOG, that is called difference of Gaussian kernel. And it is calculated with using two different values of sigma. In each octave. Like this diagram can be understood as a difference of DOG in each octave. That is the first octave, that you have to utilize two values of the sigma, and you have to initiate the difference between this one image, and this one image. And after making the difference, this is your answer: difference of DOG, difference of DOG, difference of DOG. So it is just like the training and testing purpose. So you have to do it for the next octave also. You have to test the images for the different sigma value and initiate the differences. Now in the last step of the scale space peak selection is that you have to define the key points by making the 26 comparisons. Find the key points by making 26 comparisons. So how it is 26 actually? In this diagram you can understand is so these are the octaves, and this is the first scale value, this is the second scale, and this is the third scale. So the initial one, that is the current one, and you have to check the key points. So this cross point will be act as a key point here. Now this key point has to be compared with its neighboring key point, that is indicated by the green circle, as well as the key points with the upper one scale. Here there are 9 circles. In the backward, you can say downwards also. So here it is 9 and here it is 8. So total how many comparisons? 9 plus 8 plus 9. So there are 26 comparisons over there. Now what is the next step? The next step is called the key point localization. So in the key point localization means the point you are selecting from this diagram the point that you are selecting, in this case this is the cross one, the key point. This diagram is belonging to which region? So whether it is a flat region or it is a edge region or it is a corner region, that you have to identify by using the key point localization. So for doing this, just you have to apply the Harris corner detector algorithm as well as the Canny edge detector and the Sobel edge detector. Or you can just apply the Harris also, because in the Harris, by using the lambda 1 and lambda 2 value, you can just detect whether it is a corner or not, whether it is a edge or not, or whether it is a flat or not. So only applying the Harris detector algorithm in order to detect the key point localization will be enough. Now the C1 is called orientation assignment. So in the orientation assignment, what will we do? There is an image and there is a person. Now I have to identify the orientation of this person. Like in the augmented reality, you can see that above the object wherever the image is situated. So that image can be visualized by the 360-degree angle. So this is due to the orientation assignment, that you can visualize the image or a particular object at different rotation point of view, at a different degrees or angles point of view. So in this diagram, you have to identify the orientation of this object. So the first step is you have to take the neighborhood points. Neighborhood point has to be taken around the key point location. What is our key point? Key point is your person. Has to be taken around the key point location. Then in the second step, you have to calculate the gradient magnitude and the direction. So how can we calculate the gradient magnitude and the direction? That is already seen in my previous lecture. So calculate gradient magnitude and the direction. Now after this calculation, you have to create a histogram. So because I am considering this object in the 360-degree point of view, the angle point of view, so we have to create the 36 bins. So you can say in one bin, there is an angle accommodation from 1 to 10 degree. And I have 360 bins. Sorry, 36 bins means I have 360 angle. So by considering this point, a histogram is created. Having 36 bins because I have 360-degree angle orientation. So suppose if a neighborhood point that you chosen there, neighborhood point, having the angle of 18 degree. So it will be directly jump to the second bin because the second bin range will be 11 to 20. Now like the same way, you have to take all of the neighborhoods surrounding this object, all of the neighborhoods. And you have to repeat the procedure and the histogram will be made. Then from this histogram, one histogram is already made there for your understanding point of view. So you can see there is a bins allotment. There is a bin allotment and the histogram is created. And this is called, the peak value is called the gradient magnitude value. So in this diagram, we have to select only those orientation which are greater than 80% and rest will be discarded. So from this 80 greater than 80% is consideration tells us that if we moving our object, then all of the pixel values over this direction will get changed if I am using that gradient magnitude and the corresponding direction. So I can better visualize a particular object in the terms of the augmented reality. So we have to select greater than 80% peak value for the orientation. So students, I will take 5 more minutes because the topic is just in the middle way. So it will take just 5 minutes to complete it. Now the another step is called the key point descriptor. That is called, I think this one is C. So it one we should D. So as I told you, my point C and D, sorry, key point localization and the key point descriptor can be do simultaneously. So in the key point localization, you have to just apply the Harris detector. But in the key point descriptor means you have to elaborate that the point is uh, initiating what type of things. Like the key point is giving you the information about the rotation as well as the intensity, like this one, that is called the key point descriptor, and this descriptor is used for the key point matching. So will I directly jump to the, it is integrated with the point B, so I'm directly jump to the last point, that is called key point matching. So in the key point matching, for matching you have to use the key point localization and the key point descriptor, and after that the image, this one is called the testing image, training image, and this one is called the testing image. So in the testing image there are some modifications like the change in the Gaussian blur filter as well as the rotations also, and the intensity also, or the gradient magnitude also it will change. So this is the training image, that is the original one, and this is testing image. So from these two images you have to matching the key points. Like if a particular person is there and the particular same person is there, then what are the features? The features are their eyes, so these eyes should be matched with these person eyes. The hand should be matched with these person hands features. So this point have to be meshed over the two images, like the testing image and the training image. So there is also a threshold, because in the key point descriptor, wherever the information is given to you in terms of the gradient magnitude, in terms of the rotation or the intensity, but you have to select only those one that provide you the useful information. Otherwise, the redundancy will be created. So by default, the threshold is 0.8 here. So if your information is greater than, the value is greater than 0.8, then it will be rejected. So you have to take the projections or the matching points for only those values which are 0.8, then only matched are created, otherwise not. So this all things will be cleared by using the coding. I think you are still confused with the last point, that is key point matching, that how the matching is performed as well as the scale space also. So I will explain the code, and from the code you can visualize that what I'm trying to say. So again, I am using the CV2 for the OpenCV Matplotlib for the plotting of the images, that I reading the image, the Alia Bhatt images I am reading. Then I am using the training image and the testing image. So my training image is the original one, that is in the RGB format. And again, I am converting for the processing. I have converting my Alia Bhatt image into the gray one and indicated with the object name that is called training gray. Now for making the octave, there is a method that is called the PYR down, that is called the pyramid of the images in terms of the octave. So inside this the training image and the test image I have to pass out. The test image is this one, that I have to create it, the original one, that is the training image, and that is used as a back propagation, and that test image will be again passed down for the another scaling also. So in the diagram, you can see there are three scalings, the upwards and the downwards and the middle one. So you can see this one is the upward, this one is the downward. Now for detecting the number of rows and the columns, because we have to do certain computations over there, we have to shape our image, that is a test image. And I told you the steps, that is called the key point localization and the key point descriptor has to be done simultaneously, that we can do later. So we will jump to the third thing, that is called the orientation assignment. So for the orientation assignment, there is already a one method, like the histograms and taking of the bins and choosing the values which are greater than 80%, that you do not need to do manually, just you have to use the get rotation matrix 2D. And inside this you have to pass the center. The center is nothing but the number of columns divided by 2 and the number of rows divided by 2, and the angle. In the angle you can just type any value, but in my case I am using the 30, and it should be in the positive, because in the positive value elaborates you that you are taking the direction in the clockwise. And scale, so this is my first scale only. Now the another orientation assignment over there. So orientation assignment, there are two methods, that is called the warp affine and the another one is called the warp perspective. So what kind of transformations you want to do, that is depend upon you. That is, if you want to do the transformation of 2 cross 3, then you have to use the affine transformation, otherwise you can do perspective transformation. So in my case I am using the affine one, because I am using the transformation matrix of 2 cross 3. And inside this you have to pass the rotation matrix, that you object is created in the upper ones, and the number of columns and the number of rows. In the number of columns and the number of rows basically defines you the width and the height. So width is represented by the number of columns and the height is represented by the number of rows here. Now for the testing of the images, I have to convert it into the grayscale format. So test gray object is created and my test image is converted into the grayscale, and display the images. So this one is my training image and this one is my testing image, because I am only plotting the training image and the testing image. I am not plotting the grayscale images here. You can see there, like the gray one is represented by test underscore gray, and the gray image for the training is represented by training underscore gray. So for the better display, I am using the colored images. Like this one is the training image and this one is the testing image. So you can see in my testing image, there are some modification in terms of the orientation as well as the intensity in the blurred format. So I'm using the different values of sigma over there. Now the second and the fourth points are using simultaneously, that I already write here. Find the key points and the descriptor with the shift. So you have to call the shift by using the CV2. So I think there must be some error will be occurring in the running of the code. So for the mitigating of that error, I will give you a one command. So after that, if you will run, then the problem will not will occur. So these are my train key points and the descriptor for the train and test, and the shift dot detect and compute. Inside this, you have to pass the parameters of training A, because the computation have to be performed inside the training images and the testing images. So grayscale images you have to pass inside the parameters of shift dot detect and compute, in order to compute the key points, detection of the key points and computation of the descriptors. So there is an inbuilt function, you do not have to do anything in the manual way. So now key points without size and key points with size. What is the meaning of without size and with size? That I will tell you soon. Then draw key points. So in the draw key points, you have to pass the training image first, then the train key points, this one value and the key points without size, and the another one you can see the key points with size. So now it's the time that I will elaborate you what is the key points without size and with size. So that is the feature detection. You can see in the Alibit's images, there are certain features over there, like the image of nose, eyes. In the hairs, there are certain features. There is a corner in their lips. So there is a train points without with sizes. With sizes means you can see in the circle with a heavy radius. But in the train key points without size means there is nothing in the circle, but we have to create the dotted points in order to detect the features. Like the features is mitigated in terms of the eyes, ears, and the hands and nose also. Then matching the key points for the augmented reality. For the matching of the key points, there is a method that is called the brute force matcher. It is basically use the normalization value in terms of the Hamming distance. So by using this brute force matcher, you can just calculate the Hamming distance over there. You have to pass over the train descriptor and the test descriptor that you have created in the above code. This one, test descriptor and the train descriptor that you have to pass over there, because along with the features you have to do the mapping now. That's why you need descriptors. Then it takes sorted value with the matching of the Hamming feature, and just pass your test gray images. All of the images you have to pass inside this parameter, the key points that you have used, and draw the matches over there. If you have draw the matches and show the results, so there is the one image that is called the testing image in the grayscale format, and you have to match over the colored one images. So all of the features that you detected in the original image, that have to be matched with the testing image, that is called the grayscale images. And number of matching key points between the training and the query, or called the testing images, 1130. So just use this code and run and try to understand the things. I think this SIFT algorithm is making very fast because we have not so much time. But if you run the code and just try to learn the coding skills, then you will understand the things. So rest of the people can leave, and those having doubts can stay.